Paul, welcome to iSigma On Air. That's what this is called, iSigma On Air. So tell me who you are, what you're about, where you're from, because I think we'll get a sense that you might be from somewhere other than the U.S.
Thanks very much, Tom, for the invitation to speak here today. I'm from Australia, as you can probably gather.
Yeah, and that's a good Australian accent you got there.
I'm part of the iSigma board and have been for a few years now, as you probably know, heading up the international division. And I've been coming to the conferences here since 2023, so this is my fourth one. And our company, G1 Asset Management in Australia, we're an ITAD specialising in decommissioning of IT equipment. So look after desktops, laptops, networking equipment, mobile phones, wipe the data, provide data destruction certificates and repurpose. NAID AAA certification has been an integral part of our business. We see great value in it, and the promotion of that and the value of that is part of why I joined initially an iSigma committee, and then one thing led to another with the work that I was doing, and I was approached to join the board, and that's given greater impetus to what we've been trying to do in growing iSigma outside of the US. As you know, it's been mainly a US-centric organisation, so growing it in the APAC region and the EMEA region, and that's been a real challenge, but we're starting to see everything coming together well with the conference in Bangkok coming up in November, and I just had some people approach me that they wanted to sponsor and in a big way. So it's not something I was seeking. So that's the level of interest that's been engendered throughout the conference here so far. So it's been an exciting journey. Really enjoy it, and seeing the level of data security be what it should be. It's a case of, I guess, all boats rise with the tide together, and that's what we're trying to achieve.
So cool. So let's break that up into a couple of categories, because first category you talked about is your business. So I'm always intrigued by, how did you get into this thing? Like, what was the genesis of your business? Why did you start this business? Like, what led you to this? Yeah,
well, it's an interesting story, because it's not me who started the business, but my son Joel.
Oh.
So Joel founded the business in 2011. He co-founded with another gentleman, Matt Nikolai, and Joel spent a lot of time with Matt getting all the foundations in place for processes and quality, and then the organisation was looking to grow. So I joined 6, 7 years later, and Joel approached me and said, "Dad, we need your skills in growing businesses," because I've been a CEO of organisations in manufacturing fields, but the principles are the same as far as building the relationship, understanding what a customer needs, providing solutions for them, not trying to force a sale down their throat, long-term relationships, large contracts, large partnerships, high volume. So that's been the story for the last 8 years, and it's worked extremely well, and we now have facilities up and down the east coast of Australia. We supply Australia-wide, whereas it was very much a state-based business, and we do work in New Zealand and throughout APAC now. So it's been a great story.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So all credit to Joel and Matt for laying the foundations there.
Okay, so part of that is the business is already existing. You come into it. You came from running manufacturing businesses.
Yeah.
What? Give me just context on that.
Yeah, sure. I was CEO of a company called Queensland Plastics, and also Viscount Plastics prior to that.
Oh,
so it's injection moulding equipment.
Yep.
So I've been used to setting management targets with key performance indicators with each of the key staff members, production, marketing, and so forth, and just providing that accountability to be able to grow the business, in a cost-efficient manner, and to improve the sales and improve EBITDA. And that's been my whole focus through the last 20 years. And so this role involves a bit of that, but Joel handles that extremely well. And it's more to build the relationships with key government bodies in terms of large volume customers, like Services Australia, for example, is one of them. Transport for New South Wales, 27,000 users. The first one was 34,000 seats. And in a population of 27 million, that's quite a sizable number, say, compared to they dwarfed in numbers and compared to the US markets here. but it's the same principles, and that's worked really, really well. So
Oh, that's so cool. So when did you did your son already have connection with iSigma, or did you find that connection?
yes, no, he did, and
did, okay.
there was already a need and an understanding to have NAID AAA certification. So as I said, Joel and Matt and Jason, another key member of our team, spent quite a few years in establishing all those really strong foundations for growth in every sense of the word. And so I guess I'm partly a beneficiary of that to be able to promote that, but also they've laid a lot of groundwork there, but now the results are being reaped in a large way with having that foundation and leveraging off various large customers that we have to build more and more and more. So the turnover has grown significantly in that time.
That's really cool. So what did you feel like when you got into the organization, into the company,
Yeah.
and you got connected, obviously because your son was already connected to iSigma and NAID AAA certification. What did you see that compelled you to dig in deeper? Because I mean, there's a lot of people, especially internationally, who I have talked to over the years, because I've been part of this organization for over 25 years.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's a North American centricity to this, and a lot of people sort of see it and go, "That's interesting." And they might gain some value once every 5 or 6 years, but you actually see something that causes you to actually get involved.
Absolutely.
What's the distinction for you? What did you see that others might not have seen?
Well, Tom, what I see in Australia in particular is you have, the normal ISO standards. You've got R2V3, some have stewards, and you're looking for points of difference to attract big customers to your business. So, if other competitors have the same, well, what's your point of difference apart from the way you operate and a cost neutral model and all that, economies of scale side of things in the business. Mm-hmm. But I saw NAID AAA certification being the highest level of global data destruction certification that can be achieved as being really significant. And for some reason, others don't see it as that value. And I also was happy to join a committee when Bob Johnson approached me many years ago to see, because I'm a huge in networking and building opportunity and building relationship, and I saw it as a great way of going down markets and avenues, because you know what it's like in marketing. You never know where something's going to lead you, and then all of a sudden you strike gold.
Right.
And so that was the big attraction for me.
Interesting.
And just to see what can be grown and what partnerships that can happen in what we do. We also look for opportunities where we've got US-based ITADs that have customers in Australia that need assistance on the ground. So, for example, DMD Recovery Systems is one of those, and
so they're
Revive and others that we do work with. Yeah,
interesting. That's really. But you can't get that unless you show up at these events easily.
Correct.
You got to show up at these events and build the connection, because fundamentally we're still a people. Partnerships are people partnerships.
That's it.
Yeah.
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 So, you can only do so much by email and LinkedIn or whatever, but nothing beats face-to-face, pressing the flesh, talking like we are now, offering solutions. They see your certifications. They know all the boxes are ticked, and that's the biggest part. The foundation's laid for all the box-ticking exercise in, where you can work in any capacity, anywhere, and be impressive to anyone was really important.
Yeah. So it's one thing to leverage a certification. It's another thing to be involved in terms of a member of a global organization that you feel like gives you a positioning or a place in the marketplace that you might not have otherwise. But you go one step further and you get involved in the board. Like what's that about? Because that's a commitment, especially coming from Australia.
It is.
I mean, you got to be up. When they do board meetings, you're like
5 a.m.
It's 5 a.m. in the morning. You really don't want to be up at 5. But I mean, there's a major commitment that comes with being a board member that's different than being a member. So, what caused you to go to that next level? Not just even committee membership, board membership, a board level contribution. What caused that? What was the driving force of that?
Well, Tom, I guess, I was enjoying being part of the committee in Australia and seeing what was being done. and a vacancy appeared, and I was approached and got a phone call from here to join the board, and they'd noticed the work that had been done and wanted to, advance that further, and could see how things were advancing in that APAC region. And so I felt, that would be another great opportunity to see where that goes, because I'm the sort of guy that is excited by opportunity and can see the end game and know how to go about getting it. I might get some blockages along the way, as we all do, but the way to skin the cat, in a strategic, subtle manner. And it's the thrill of the chase and getting the end result that excites me.
Yeah.
And that's been a great situation where we've kicked a lot of goals over the last few years.
That's very cool.
And so I see that extending to the international committee,
Right.
and the sort of things we're doing now, and the conference in Bangkok, and meeting others who are like-minded. For example, another gentleman, Laurent Landy, who you may have heard of, and he'll be at the ITAD Summit in Nice. He heads up Asia Data Structure, and he's a key member of our APAC committee. And so any work that comes from that area we do with him, and it's just building those alliances, because you never know who comes across what that may need your help.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so put yourself in a position where that can happen.
Yeah, and that's I think I don't know. I've just discovered you and I both have gray hair. But over a lifetime of being involved in business and industry and different things, you realize at the end of the day, a lot of what drives this success is some success, and much of it's in some ways luck. But at some points, it's you're in the right room at the right time. But if you didn't show up in the room, you never get the shot.
Yeah.
Right. And the connections, like you and I now have a connection and we've had for the last few years.
Yes.
Obviously, we've intersected. But if I'm trying to figure out someone
What
in
makes
my
Paul tick?
network,
Yeah.
who to talk to, if I come to Australia, guess who I'm calling? I mean, right? I mean, we
Exactly.
built that kind of, and that's been so integral to my life. I mean, I'm sitting in this room not because I'm but just I showed up in the right rooms, and I get to have conversations with really amazing people. And I work, I coach and advise and help lots of companies. And it's because I had a whole bunch of conversations early on when I was trying to figure it out, right? And so, I mean, I think it's so cool what you're doing here, because it's a major investment. But I know from the community point of view here, like the work you've been doing for the board and for the association is really greatly appreciated. I mean, you're really doing good work in the world for us as an organization. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
It's been great to be part of it. It's also not about business, as you know. You get connections socially, talking about sport, or, I'm a interesting guy in that I like to talk about politics as well. And, you never talk about politics and religion, right? Well, they're two topics that are of great interest to me. And I've found breaking those barriers with people easy.
Yeah.
They're not tense about it. They're not annoyed about it. They love the conversation. They're happy that you take it on.
Right.
And so,
beautiful.
through all those areas, and not leave, because, it gets a bit monotonous, just business all the time.
Oh.
So I just leave that to the side and build the relationship in the other things. And once you quickly work out what the other person likes and focus down that track, the connection lasts longer and stronger.
Yeah. So speaking of that, on another path, you've got obviously deep roots in business leadership and corporate leadership. You're now working with your son's company and bringing your knowledge to bear. If you have a crystal ball based on where you're sitting today, where do you see this all going? I mean, the world, and our speaker, the one speaker talked a little bit about, the data centers that have to be built to support AI. But in the ITAD side of things, what's your crystal ball prediction for where this is all going?
I think the ITAD industry will just continue to grow and grow and grow. The market opportunities are just endless. Like in Australia, for example, there's 27 million people. There's roughly 13 million in the workforce. 90% of those people have desktops and laptops, and roughly every 4 years it's going to get turned over. So how do you set your strategy to be able to attract a lot of that business? And, when I speak to a layman about the business, I speak to them in terms of something that they can identify with, like the motor vehicle industry. There'll always be a need for brand new vehicles, and there'll always be a need for good quality second-hand vehicles. And I see the IT hardware industry as the same.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like, 5 years out, because I don't know, like I'm constantly wrestling with these questions, which is what, some of what they talk about. Cars are actually evolving because Waymos and things like that. We now have in a phone what we used to have in a massive desktop or even a server is now sitting in our phones.
Yes.
I don't know where my phone is, but in our phones. And what, what I keep hearing, at least from the AI forward people, which is, you're just going to have a little thing stuck in your brain and it'll be talking to you all day. I see both the growth of this industry, especially on the servers to support that stuff. But I wonder about I wonder what a office will look like 10 years from now. Are we all going to have desktops and laptops? What's this all going to be?
Is
my bot talking to your bot and it's just all in the cloud? I don't know. Like I'm intrigued by what you might think of that, because I see it coming and evolving.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you see it coming quickly?
Oh yeah.
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 Do you think we'll have desktops and laptops in the next 3 or 4 years, or what do you think they'll be?
Well,
if they're not that.
I see. Yeah. I don't see that, because I'm building. I'm a executive coach, but I build software for fun on the side with AI.
Yeah.
Right. I just do funny stuff. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just trying to figure it out. But I start realizing that my laptop, if I know how to do that. But I also talk to kids right now and say, if you can do your job on a laptop, your job's gone in 2 years. Like if you're at home and you're working from home and you just work on a laptop, you're done. Like AI can do that easier.
Yes.
And so part of that for me then is, because I live in this industry like you do, and I'm constantly talking with CEOs and going, well, what comes next? And there's this sense that ITAD is going to be this massively growing thing. But at the same time, I'm watching this other side, which is, all the big consulting firms in the country have basically cut thousands of new entry jobs.
Because
and
a
those
repetitive
kids,
task can be
they all
replaced
had
by
laptops.
AI.
They all ran laptops and desktop. And I'm not sure. I'm just asking because you're in the game and you're a strategist. Like, what do you see? I'm always intrigued by what's coming.
Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of that will be correct, but AI will never be able to replace the conversation that we're having now and building the relationship
100%.
to grow businesses. So there'll always be a need for growth. If you're not growing, you're stagnant and going backwards. And I back my skill over anyone, and I mean anyone.
Oh, yeah.
I've met prime ministers, and I'm not saying that to boast or whatever. I've been in those situations. I've been chairman of a federal seat, in the Liberal Party in Australia, which is the equivalent of a Republican Party here. I've met Scott Morrison, I've met Tony Abbott, I've met these guys. I know how they work, how they think. And you building relationships with people of that ilk or in people in this industry, can't be replaced. And they'll
100%.
always value the solution that you can provide for them. So I have no fear in that area.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm just always intrigued. How you like to talk about politics. I like to talk about, well, where's this all going? Because, as part of an industry, it's always intriguing to me what's transpiring, because, many in this industry have come out of the paper world.
Yeah.
Right? Paper shred. I came out of box storage. I had millions of boxes on shelves, in a warehouse, and that evolved into shredding, and then evolved into coaching and working with lots and lots of companies in the industry. And, by and large, the paper, the volume of paper is shrinking.
Yes.
Volume keeps shrinking, and there's industry consolidation. And then ITAD has been, in the last few years, we've seen in this conference, ITAD has, we're leaning ITAD more than we were 10 years ago.
Yes.
There was no ITAD, really. There was a bit, but not much. And now
you see as a big surge happening there.
Big surge. Like if you walk through the shred trucks here, what you see is not just paper shredding trucks, you see ITAD trucks now.
Yeah.
And so you see this ongoing evolution. And to me, the next question in the industry is what's the evolution past ITAD? Because ITAD to me is where all the growth seems to be happening.
Yes.
The growth in record storage and shredding is acquisition growth because everybody's vended. It's a vended community.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
ITAD's not vended yet completely. And there's opportunity. So we're growing that. And then I go, this AI revolution's coming in on the side.
Yeah.
We're leveraging it, but at the same time, it's part of this world we're living in now. So I don't know. I'm always intrigued by someone like you who's sort of sits back and thinks strategically and goes, what might be happening there? But
I'll tell you in 12 months' time when I've got a clearer picture. But
yeah.
I don't see too much changing in the short term.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
That
either.
I'm seeing. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I tend to think 10 years out, but and go, it's interesting. So, well, brother, it's great to see you. Thank you for traveling all the way from Australia to be a part of this community and to show your face and be a presence to the work you're doing on the board, the exceptional work you're doing on the board, and undoubtedly, all the benefits that this association gives you back as a result. So, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me today on the podcast, and thank you again for everything you're doing.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Tom.